Fox News Alert, a judge will sentence disgraced attorney and now convicted killer Alex Murdaugh this morning. He's facing 30 years to life in prison on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of possession of a weapon in a violent crime. Over the course of the 6-week trial, prosecutors argued the disgraced attorney shot and killed Maggie and Paul in 2021 at their sprawling South Carolina estate to shift attention off his financial ruin and fraud charges. And it took the jury less than 3 hours of deliberations to convict him. Murdaugh will learn his fate at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
Of course, everyone's been watching this case play out, including this guy.
I watched him take the stand, and I thought it was probably a mistake because the guy is an admitted liar, and it's hard for me to think he can be on the stand 5, 6, 7, 8 days without lying. Question is, what did he lie about? But lying and stealing money is a little different than murder.
Oh boy, Joe Concha joins us now. I don't know, Juice, maybe sit this one out.
What he also said was, I don't know why anyone would think I'm an expert in these situations, right? It's amazing he had enough time because, remember, he's still looking for the real killers.
So in almost 30 years he's been looking.
Is it 30 years now at this point? Wow. So OJ should be doing videos like this from a prison cell, as we know, right? But there's not really much more to add here as far as him weighing in on a murder trial when 99.9% of the American public believes that he may have murdered 2 people.
I mean, Joe, don't you think some people just don't need to open their mouths in situations like this? Maybe OJ being one?
That is the top person.
Yeah, like
that
number one.
Be weighing in on this, exactly. But look, you watched that trial. We aired it here extensively on the network, and it's hard to come to any other conclusion other than that this monster did this to his wife and to his adult son, and it's just a horrible, horrible thing, and he'll be in jail for the rest of his life, unlike OJ.
It's like Harry and Meghan giving advice on how to plan a family reunion.
Well said.
Yeah, thank you. Let's turn to this. House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan says anti-conservative bias in the media is always worse than it actually seems. Take a listen.
Left tells the lie, as I said before. Big media reports it, big tech amplifies it. You try to tell the truth, they call you names. But in the end, if you persevere, the truth will come out. The one thing that we learn always in these things is the only thing we get wrong is it's always worse than we thought.
Joe, that's pretty spot on.
Jim Jordan also said, quote, "The most important liberty you have, in my judgment, is the right to speak. Because if you can't speak, you can't practice your faith, you can't share your faith, you can't petition your government, you don't really have freedom of the press. That's the most important one, and that's the one they go after." And look, it is true. Everything we're learning now after the fact is worse than we thought, right? Russia collusion actually did not happen. Votes were not changed in the 2016 election. We also saw that with the Hunter Biden laptop, right, which was Russian disinformation. Now we see all the emails. It may be worse than we think. And obviously the COVID lab leak is the most important part of all of this, where if you said that, you were a crazy conspiracy theorist even 1 year ago. And now we realize, as Jon Stewart said, that if there's a chocolate outbreak in Hershey, Pennsylvania, it's probably the chocolate factory. If there's a coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan, it's probably the lab that studies coronaviruses under gain-of-function research.
Well, they also said not just conspiracy theorists, but a racist conspiracy theorist. Those were always thrown in there too. If you thought anything, if you even asked questions, but. We see this keep happening. Oh, and don't forget anybody who's pro-life, like they're going to, anything like that. But is it ever going to change? Because we're seeing a pattern here. Is it ever going to stop?
Until there's accountability, right? I have kids. Todd, your kids are getting to a point where you probably punish them for doing something, I would imagine, right? Until you reprimand the child, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They'll still steal the cookies. They'll still stay up past curfew, all of those things. Until there's accountability, nothing will change, Ashley.
Here's more evidence of this. Fox News exclusively obtaining testimony from a DOJ whistleblower who says the department specifically focused on threats from pro-life individuals after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Let me read it quickly. When this threat tag came out, it was like, why are you focusing on pro-life people? It's pro-choice people are the ones who are protesting or otherwise threatening violence in front of Supreme Court justices' houses. We thought this was happening. Now even more proof, Joe.
so many people now have so little trust in our institutions, right? Whether it's the FBI, the Department of Justice, obviously even the Supreme Court is at their lowest level in terms of polling numbers. And that's the thing. The people of East Palestine, which we've talked about on the show many, many times, they keep being told by their government that everything is okay, right? EPA, it's fine to drink the water. You're not really feeling all the symptoms that you do. And they say, you know what? We don't believe you. So that is a microcosm of a problem here. We don't trust anything anymore. And that's a big problem in this country because we used to, actually,
that's
not
so
too long
sad,
ago.
Because you used to think when you heard from officials like the EPA and the DOJ and the FBI, you'd be like, okay, they've got it under control. Now, there's more questions than anything.
The president should go there at some point, right?
Joe, the one fact that I can confirm, today is Friday. You are Joe Concha.
Yes.
Have a great weekend,
Thank
sir.
you, Joe.
The rest of you out there, enjoy.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.